Welcome to TRN Podcast, episode 124. Today we're diving into something pretty current, an issue that might be affecting quite a few of you listening, a major outage with Spotify.
Hello there.
We've looked at several sources to piece together what's happening and give you a clear picture without getting too bogged down in technical jargon.
Yeah, it's quite an event, isn't it? Really highlights how much we lean on these services day to day.
Absolutely.
We'll be looking at what went down, the impact it's had, and what it all means for users like us.
Okay, let's jump right in. So the information suggests this all kicked off today, April 16th, 2025, around 2 p.m. Central European Time. That wasn't long ago at all.
No, very recent.
What were the first signs based on what we're seeing from the sources?
Well, according to the initial reports popping up on sites like Störung and .at, the main problems seem to be connecting to Spotify's servers and then actually playing music.
Right.
And apparently, thousands of users worldwide started reporting these problems pretty quickly.
Thousands.
Yeah,
Wow, that's significant.
It really is. Makes you wonder about the scale of their infrastructure, you know?
Definitely. And we did our own digging too, didn't we? It looked like it wasn't just about the music streaming itself failing.
No, that's right. Our checks confirm that. The most common complaints we saw flagged up were songs just not starting at all or cutting out abruptly mid-track. Yeah, imagine being right in the middle of something and then just silence. That's got to be frustrating.
Super frustrating. And looking at the cities in Germany, where reports spiked, Frankfurt, Munich, Berlin, Hamburg, Stuttgart, Cologne, Leipzig, that really points towards a nationwide issue, don't you think?
That's a very solid observation. That wide geographical spread strongly suggests this wasn't just some local network hiccup. It points to something potentially deeper within their system.
We also looked at a survey from Netzwelt.de. The results there were pretty telling, I thought.
Oh, yeah. What did they find?
Well, it confirmed that music playback issues were the biggest complaint, hitting over 30% of respondents, and connection problems were next, around 21%. What does that breakdown tell you?
Well, I mean, one often leads to the other, doesn't it? You can't get smooth playback without a solid server connection.
True.
But what's also interesting is the significant number reporting issues specifically with the mobile apps, nearly 16%, and the desktop app, too, around 7%.
Right, and even the website itself seemed problematic for over 6%.
So it wasn't just the core function acting up.
Exactly. And what I found particularly striking was that apparently even Spotify's own support website wasn't loading for a while. What do we make of that?
That's usually a bad sign. When the support channels go down along with the main service, well, it tends to indicate a much broader infrastructure failure. It really raises questions about the resilience of these massive systems.
Still, Spotify did respond relatively quickly, didn't they? They put out an official statement via their X channel.
They did, yes. Which is good. Transparency helps in these situations.
What do they actually say?
Basically, they confirmed they were aware of the disruptions and that their teams were actively working on a fix. Standard procedure, but important communication.
Right, and a blog post mentioned something similar. Our engineers are currently looking into the issue. Sounds reassuring, but the actual time frame for a fix is still unknown, right?
Completely unknown at this stage. And that uncertainty is the real pain point for users, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't plan. You don't know when things will be back to normal. If you use music for focus while working or just to unwind, it's a major disruption.
Speaking of staying updated, Netzwelt.de has that outage monitor, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Constantly checking Spotify server availability. That's probably quite useful for people affected.
Absolutely. And they have that outage map, too, which was last updated just after 3 p.m. It gives a decent visual on where the problems are concentrated, helps gauge the scale of it.
And then, amidst all this chaos, there's this other piece of news. Spotify apparently announced a free library expansion, adding over 350,000 new titles. The timing feels a bit odd, wouldn't you say?
It does seem like slightly strange timing. I mean, it's a nice gesture, potentially adding more content.
Yeah.
But if people can't even access the service now...
The immediate benefit is zero.
Exactly. Maybe it's meant as a signal of long-term investment, sort of a we're still improving things message, perhaps.
Could be. So we've got a handle on the facts as they stand. What are the bigger implications here, do you think, for Spotify as a company and for us users?
Well, for Spotify, there's definitely a reputational risk. When a service millions rely on daily just goes down, it inevitably raises questions about reliability, about stability.
Sure.
And for users, it's mainly that disruption to routine, the frustration, especially if you're mid-commute or really needed that background music, you know.
And the root cause is still a mystery.
Yeah.
Right. Our sources aren't speculating much yet.
No, nothing concrete in the sources we reviewed. These kinds of large-scale outages can stem from anything. Really server hardware failures, software bugs gone wrong, configuration errors, even external factors sometimes. Until Spotify gives a detailed explanation, it's all just guesswork.
It really is striking how dependent we've become on these platforms in the digital age. When something central like Spotify goes offline, it hits home, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows how deeply integrated these services are in our lives. An outage like this isn't just an inconvenience. It prompts thoughts about alternatives, maybe diversifying how we access our digital stuff.
That's a good point. Are there lessons to be learned here, do you think, for Spotify or even for us users?
For Spotify, it's surely a reminder, if they needed one, about constantly investing in infrastructure, stability, redundancy, and having clear communication plans for exactly these kinds of events.
Right.
And for us users, maybe it's a nudge to think about backup options or just to be more aware of how reliant we are on any single platform.
Yeah, this situation definitely underscores how fragile some of this digital infrastructure can feel and how quickly those daily habits we take for granted can be interrupted.
It does. It'll be interesting to see how quickly they can fully resolve this and what, if any, follow-up explanations emerge.
We hope this summary has been insightful and helped make sense of the current situation. It does make you think, though.
Absolutely. How much does the availability of these services shape your day? And what backup plans, if any, do you have for when they inevitably glitch? Maybe something interesting to ponder?